spooksters, and welcome to Season 2 of Snacks and Screams, a show for curious thrill and chill seekers who want to shake up movie nights. I'm your host, Diandra, and today we're battling raptor vampires in an Alaskan town that forgot to pay the power bill. Snacks and Screams, I review scary movies as well as unique and unusual snacks. After the review, I rate the movie and snacks out of 5 flaming pumpkins, which is a real rating system, with 5 being the best and 1 being the least best. So on my list of things that suck, Dark Winter Days fall in 3rd place, right behind Robert Purists and Merit. If I move, it's gotta be somewhere sunnier. But what's worse than Dark Winter Days? How about days with no sun at all? Who would live in a place like that? Well, folks, that would be the victims in today's flick. 30 Days of Night. 30 Days of Night is an early 2000s vampire flick about Barrow, Alaska, a town that experiences a whole month of cold, snowy darkness. Unfortunately, this time, it also experiences ravenous hemo-goblin vampires, which is nearly as bad. The movie stars Josh Hartnett, contender for the worst bangs in horror. He's coming for you, Courtney. Melissa George of Amityville Horror remake fame, and Danny Houston as the contractually obligated least-looking vampire of the vampires. Our snacks? Blood.
Yikes.
No, not humankind. I'll be nibbling on some blood sausage, aka black pudding, and moose jerky, aka elk jerky, which is apparently popular in Alaska, according to Bing. Now, before we become honorary residents of Barrow, Alaska, it's time to announce this episode's giveaway. Just like we shake up movie nights, we're shaking up our giveaways by giving away a book. It's like TV, but with no pictures or sound or TV. The first 2 Hidden Howl Spotters win a prize. Either a copy of 30 Days of Night on Blu-ray or 30 Days of Night Omnibus Volume 1, which includes the graphic novel the movie is based on. So good luck finding them bird bones! 30 Days of Night opens with a description of life in the remote Alaskan town. But honestly, it reads more like an anti-tourism ad.
Alaska, you really surprised me.
Where have you been all my life?
Your enthusiasm.
I never knew you had so much.
Alaska.
I felt your warmth. I was really touched. Alaska. Oh yes, Alaska. Where have you been all my life?
Alaska, where have you been all my life?
So, some golem with hair-looking dude shows up wearing a poofy coat and walking away from a boat stuck in a frozen harbor. Okay, who is this guy? Did he captain that ship? If so, what happened to his captain's hat and tiny anchor badge? Also, what's up with those teeth? Who's the hatless captain's dentist?
Big deal.
Where's he going? Why, to visit beautiful Alaska, of course.
Alaska, where have you been all my life?
Turns out the place is on its last day of sunlight for 30 days. We're introduced to Eben. No, not Evan. Eben. Town sheriff, which is sus right away. Where's your sheriff's hat and badge? Not a real sheriff.
I'm Sheriff Bean.
This is Sheriff Bean, a real sheriff. Over the next few minutes, we learn that someone has stolen and burned a bunch of cell phones. Burner phones, am I right? Our leading lady Stella is the resident fire extinguisher inspector, and we finally have a properly uniformed official. Clipboard and fire marshal poofy coat.
That's what I'm talking about.
Through conversation with the deputy, we find this leading lady and our leading laddie are separated from each other. And apparently there's a second dentist option in this town of 17 because the deputy has terrific teeth. Look at those choppers. Most of the town is saying their goodbyes and traveling somewhere warmer with better Wi-Fi. Good for them. Those are the sane people. And our sufficiently uniformed fire marshal is trying to be one of them. She wraps up her fire marshal duties and speeds down a snowy roadway toward the airport. But her journey gets cut short when a plot-padded ditch digger runs into her fire marshal truck. Big and bad equipment in the first act. I sure hope we get to see that in action later. You know, Chekhov's ditch digger. She makes a call to Eben, the improperly dressed sheriff, to come save her. But he's still Josh Hartnett over the whole separation thing, so he calls Deputy Teef to carry out rescue efforts. Unfortunately, they don't make it to the airport in time, and she's stuck in the dark for a month like Bane on vacation.
On vacation in the darkness.
Meanwhile, Eben goes to check in on the most unsettling thing in this movie, a slaying of sleigh dogs. I don't care how many people die in this movie, but the dogs? Why? Pull it, Glenn!
Come home.
Eben, in his Spirit Halloween cop uniform, returns to cop headquarters where his younger brother and grandma are holding down the fort. So to recap, our current police force is Dollar Store Sheriff, Deputy Teef, a kid that counts playing WoW as exercise, and somebody's pothead grandma. Sure would be a shame if someone were to introduce some vampires. Eben gets another call from the Utilidor, which according to Bing is an above-ground insulated conduit used for general utility service, especially in Arctic climates. BT dubs, we get a glimpse of a gun, and if there's one thing we know well, it's the Chekhov's gun and ditch digger rule, which states, if there's a gun, ditch digger, or detail added that seems minor, it will become significant later. So that gun, it's gotta go off or dig a ditch. We're then introduced to a nameless scared dude who lives in a trailer that makes phones work. And of course, that means he's gotta die. And he do. By a bunch of vamps. And his pockets empty, cuz these vamps is hungry.
Hey, man, you got something to eat up in there? We hungry.
But in this movie, they aren't like regular vampires. They're like velociraptors, vampators, vamparaptors, velocipires. Velocipires. More animals than human, TBH.
That doesn't look very scary. More like a 6-foot turkey.
Turkey, huh?
Oh, no.
Okay. Try to imagine yourself in the Cretaceous period. You get your first look at this 6-foot turkey as you enter a clearing. He moves like a bird, lightly bobbing his head. And you keep still because you think that maybe his visual acuity is based on movement, like T-Rex, and he'll lose you if you don't move. But no, not Velociraptor. You stare at him, and he just stares right back. And that's when the attack comes, not from the front, but from the side. The other two raptors didn't even know we're there.
Harry Gollum shows up at the local diner and starts a scene over wanting a bowl of raw meat. As one does. After a scuffle with our star-crossed authority figures, he gets locked up in the local jail with pothead grandma. And trust us, she's got the good stuff. None of that seeds and stems.
Chris, let's get the snickle Fritz.
Eben starts interrogating him, and oh, there's his badge. Still got no cowboy hat. Now, as Eben interrogates the stranger, one thing becomes abundantly clear. This isn't the type of person you'd want to be with in the dark. Then the power goes out. Meanwhile, at the dead doghouse, the velocipiers are beginning their attack. And as if it wasn't already obvious enough, these things are brutal as fudge. They adult nap the wife and immobilize the husband with my signature pro wrestling move. It's called the lumberjack, and I'm just out here sweeping legs. But I'm stylish, you know. I'm wearing plaid and tossing flapjacks to the younglings, and I've just got this great... Back at Eben's grandma jail and pot emporium, Wow Kid falls for the oldest trick in the book and gets grabbed by creepy guys. Very, very, very unwashed hands. I'll bet my screen-accurate Freddy mask and collectible DVD set this dude plays as a mage. Eben silently sneaks in and thwarts creepy guy for the second time in the first act, clipping his wing with his service weapon. Taking no more chances, they handcuff Gollum. Eben and Stella leave to go check the town for other survivors. But when they return, Grandma and brother are gonzo. Save for a train of blood. Blood Train! Now that's a movie. You're a passenger on an overnight train inhabited by vampires. Hey, Hollywood, call me. The velocipiers leave Raw Meat Boy behind, which is honestly a real bummer for him. He's been cosplaying a vampire since he got there, but he ain't got the stuff. Double bummer, the right stuff was inside him the whole time. Hasn't this guy seen Space Jam?
What?
Your secret stuff.
Meanwhile, Vamp Daddy, speaking some creepy ancient language, instructs his followers to feed, but not to forget to remove the heads from the bodies. We don't want anyone turning bone apple teeth. What follows is one of the most iconic sequences in horror. A slow, bird's-eye view of Barrow being absolutely wrecked while the velocipiers feast on the townfolk. Speaking of feast, I'm hungry. Time for our first snack. Blood sausage.
Did someone say blood?
Is that you? Cousin Margravine Carmilla Laser? The concubine of All Hallows?
According to Bing, she should have a ghastly appearance, looking gaunt, white, and gothic.
Scooch. Cousin Carmilla, what brings you to our home in the middle of a snack review?
You said blood. I like blood. And I miss seeing you at family reunion.
Did you show up in bat form again?
Yes. And you chased me with broom. I just want blood.
And blood.
And blood.
Cousin Margravine Carmilla Laser, the concubine of All Hallows. Would you like to do our snack review?
Yes. You want me to read this?
Yes.
Okay. A blood sausage is a sausage filled with dried blood. The blood is cooked or dried and mixed with a filler until it's thick enough to solidify when cooled. So basically, it's grains and fat soaked in blood. Oh, look, a me. Like vampire. Like me. Blood sausage is best known for being part of full English breakfast. But I prefer full English man. You want me to eat this? Okay. I'll take 5 papers. Oh. It's red inside. Look at that. Like red blood. It's definitely blood. But it doesn't satisfy like human blood.
Shoot. Shoot. Shoot.
our house and escaped my vampire cousin, it's time to get back into the review. Eben and Stella catch up with the group at the diner, and Eben discovers his brother is still alive. Which means their grandma has punched her ticket on the blood train to Deadville. Now that's a movie. You're a passenger on an overnight train inhabited by other dead people. Hey, Hollywood, call me. Collectively, the group decides they need to move. You know, hustle culture. Eben and Stella go off to find ammunition, and the rest of the group decide to go to a secret attic with a secret window. Because movies must entertain, they're chased down and narrowly escape with help from Bo the Beard Man, which is his name in the wrestling ring and inside my brain. And BT Dubs. Check out this guy's. Vamp Daddy does finally visit Bullet Wound Gollum in jail, snapping his neck rather than drafting him to the big leagues. I feel like he didn't pick being a familiar to a bunch of Nosferatus on career day.
All right, I think that's enough. Utah?
Utah. Terrifying days later, and the attic people are getting restless and low on supplies. So Eben goes to check things out and chop off his friend's head in an absolutely eerie sequence involving an axe and a swing set. Imagine having to explain that to the rest of the attic people when he gets back.
Something, not that chill happened last night.
Back at the house, Stella is working to keep somebody's grandpa quiet. He says he has to go to the bathroom, but I know a slick Rick when I see one. Stella lets him go, but reminds him of the toilet rules.
If it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down.
Well, what do you know? He's a slick Rick after all, and he slips out the window. His son chases after him, yelling his name like he hasn't seen any movie ever, and they both get hemo-gobbled. I guess some people will do anything for family.
Without family, you got nothing.
Our group realizes their only hope is to go to the general store during the next blizzard, and then continue on to the utilidor. Upon arriving at the general store, our group discovers something terrifying hidden in the beef jerky aisle. It's a Velocipire youngling. Humps proves that all kids are spoiled.
I'm done playing with this one. You wanna play with me now?
In a moment of true growth, Wow Kid defies everyone's assumption that he plays as a mage, and Warrior chops the vampire kid's head off. Two-stroker for baby Bram Stoker. With Stump Kid in the general store and no protection, they decide to leave for the police station. But how do they distract the vamps? Eben and his brother are like, oh, sick. Grandma was 420 friendly and she had her own grow operation. You know what that means? Fake sunlight. So they rush to her house and stage a trap. When the queen vamp goes inside, they blast her with grandma's grow lights and she's zapped to burnt toast. So now Daddy Vamp is like, so mad. However, will our heroes escape back to the police station with the others? Well, it's ditch digger time. Knew it. Beard Man starts ditch digging everyone in half and rambling off one-liners like my favorite detective.
Eat fucking bullets, you fuckers! You fucking suck! You fucking suck!
Beard Man drives the ditch digger into the local cafe and attempts to blow up a box of flares to take them all down with him. Into the ditch. Miraculously, he survived the light show, so Daddy Vamp smashes his head in. Dude thought he was ahead and then got squashed like pre-Mando Pedro.
Say it! Then I smash their head in like this!
Eben makes it back for a warm embrace. But everything isn't so chim-dandy when they find the nice utilidor man got turned by the vamp youngling, and now Eben has to chop another friend's head off. Rip to a real one. But the fun isn't over yet. A light in the nearby window flashes. Whose could it be? Aw, man, it's Deputy Teeth. Eben and Stella go to check on him, and Deputy Teeth looks like he hasn't been brushed in weeks. Turns out he heard some screams and decided to murder his whole family. He wanted to take himself out too, but there just weren't any more bullets. And let me tell ya, Eben straight up rages, grabbing Deputy Teeth by the melon, repeatedly telling him you don't ever hurt your family, you jerk! Speaking of jerk, it's time for our next snack, moose jerky.
Well, hey there! We're gonna do our snack review in the middle of the desert, because there ain't no vamps out here. So let's get into it. This is the elk, aka moose jerky, according to Bing. Okay, here we go. Ooh, big old chunk. Look at that. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ooh, that's chewy. That's like a hard chewer. It just tastes like regular beef jerky. There's like a little bit of venison, like 10%, 5%. And mostly, it just tastes like jerky, like regular beef jerky. So, I wouldn't say there's anything special about it. The flavor's good, but as far as elk or beef, I feel like they're pretty much the same. Sorry, guys. Or moose.
After they busted teeth, the group finally makes their way to the utilidor. On the way, Stella notices a small child walking down the middle of the road and attempts rescue efforts. When Eben tries to distract the vamps, Deputy Teeth gets separated from the group and leads a vampy bald boy back to the utilidor. And you know how I feel about bald boys.
To this day, I hate bald boys. I can't stand bald boys. Every time I see them, I think I'm back in the pants.
Bald boy attacks the group right in front of Chekhov's waist grinder. Wasting no time, Deputy Teeth gets his comeuppance, vaporizing the vampire but losing his trigger hand. Now he's not only missing his hand, but he's also starting to turn, so Eben chops off third friend's head. Third friend's the charm. The group realizes Stella and the child haven't returned when she radios them from under a car. The vampires, realizing they only have 1 day left to make the whole thing look like an accident, bust the oil pipeline and begin to torch the town. The flaming oil creeps closer and closer to Stella and the child. Eben is left with the ultimate dilemma. So he decides to become a velocipier and take on the group to save Stella. Eben injects himself with Deputy Teeth's vamp juice, turns superhuman, and exits the utilidor to challenge Vamp Daddy to a brawl amongst the flames.
There was a firefight!
The Vampire King, with hundreds of years of experience in the ring, is gaining the upper hand until Eben Hawk smashes him in the mouth. That will not heal. Stella and the child is saved, but there's no time to celebrate. Dawn approaches. Eben and Stella have one last date on Makeout Mountain and watch the sun come up together. She holds him close as he turns to a bowl of dusty cornflakes. Bummer ending, bro. But at least we escape the clutches of Cousin Carmilla by simply moving somewhere sunnier and getting rid of our welcome mat. Like, why would a vampire ever go to Vegas? I'm super sad, but you know what? It's time for the most exciting part, the ratings. I can't believe I never watched this movie. I think I thought it was one of those zombie ones, you know, so many weeks and days and dawns. But dang, this was a good movie. Interesting, very primitive take on vampires with their archaic language and pack hunting nature. These vamps aren't sexy, they're like animals. And what a concept! A whole 30 days to feed. The movie has incredible cinematography, with my favorite being the overhead shot of the town as all hell breaks loose. And a classic cast for a film of this time period. I really love this movie. Amazing cast, brutal, gnarly, and well executed. Blood on snow is one of my favorite aesthetics, and this movie is full of it. It gets my rating of 4.5 flaming pumpkins out of a possible 5 flaming pumpkins, which is a very real, very spooky, and very prestigious rating system. And now, snacks, moose jerky, and blood sausage, which we threw away. First up, moose jerky. It just felt like any other beef jerky. Sure, I like the pineapple flavoring, but I attribute that to an additional element, not necessarily the jerky itself. It was hard and I didn't find it very special, which is why it gets my rating of 2 flaming pumpkins out of a possible 5 flaming pumpkins, which is a real rating system. Last and least, blood sausage. This is the reason my vampire cousin showed up. We had to blow up our house and then move all the way across the country. It's the source of all evil. I know it's very important to you English folk, but I simply cannot, which is why it gets my rating of 1 flaming pumpkin out of a possible 5 flaming pumpkins, which is a real rating system. That's all for our show this time. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe. Cause if you don't, I'm sending a little vampy bald boy after you. Tune in next time as I conquer another fear, try another tasty treat, and harass you with more of my sweet, sweet, spooky ticklers. Bye-bye.